Awesome. Got one of you guys on here. There's a couple more I'm waiting for. I'll probably start a couple minutes after the hour. Just waiting a couple more minutes to get started. Should have a couple more people trying to get on. Cool. I'm glad you can hear Delphine. There should be, I have like 5 or 6 more people, 7 now that are trying to get in. So I will wait for them. Let me write on here. All right. Let's see. 3. Yes. I know there's not going to be a lot of people during this, but I'm glad the people that are here can come here. If you can, please, there should be a question box on the side. You could just write, even though you can't really, I don't answer questions via text, but let me know you can hear, if you can hear me. That would be sweet. Just check, make sure everything's, oh gosh, okay. Help one more person get on here real quick. If you could, please, on that question section, it should be on the right-hand side of the screen. If you can type a question or say that you can hear me and all that stuff, and that bar is up there, that'd be sweet. And if it's not showing up, because I know Delphine's on here, if you could message me, letting me know it's not showing up. But it should be open, as far as I know. Gotcha. Okay. Let me see if it's on here. It might be on this screen that I need to do that. Question and answer. Yeah, that's set. Interesting. Okay. Here's what we're going to do then, because somebody said they can't see the question and answer portion. So if you go to, let me do this real fast. If you can go to the page that you actually went on to start this thing, like before you click join, if you want to write your questions in there as we go along, as you remember them or whatever, write them in there. And then at the end, I will look over them and go over them with you. We're going to give, I'm just going to see if we can get this one other person who's messaging me on here real quick, and then we'll go in. Then we'll start going. But I'm excited. I haven't done one of these for a while, the webinars, and I'm just trying out Google Hangouts. There's another company I might go to do this, but I'm going to try these guys out first to see how it goes. Just waiting for her response real quick, and then we will get started. Okay. Give people just a couple more minutes. I know we're kind of running a little bit behind, but my whole webinar won't be the full 30 minutes or the full hour. It's gonna be about 30 minutes, so it gives us enough time to go over some questions and things that you have. All right, let's see. So I'm showing 7 on here. Let's see. All right, I'll give her like 30 more seconds to text me, and if she doesn't, then we'll get started, and I'll have to tell her that I'm gonna send it to her. All right. Let's see if that should pull up full screen for you. If it does. Does it? No. You might see my mug, so just be prepared. Well, I know I'm in a dark room. There we go. Cool, that's what I want. All right, well, we're going to get started. I'm not sure if she's in or not, but anyways, this presentation is going to be what you need to know about nutrition. Really, it's going to be the basics of nutrition. Well, I shouldn't say the basics, but it kind of takes big concepts and breaks them down to basic things. Hopefully there's a couple things in here you'll get. There's one part towards the end that's pretty huge and pretty complex, so I'll try to explain it the best I can, but it's literally probably one of the best keys to losing weight. So here we go. I know a lot of people in here are clients, but I like to kind of go over who I am. My name is Chris Shank. I own Tribrid Personal Training in Mesa, Arizona, a gym that specializes solely in weight loss. So we take people that want to do like strength and conditioning and balance training, of course. But if you were to come to me for bodybuilding, I think you saw my picture at the front, you're at the wrong place for that. we're pretty good at what we do. Last month alone, we had 250 pounds gone in a month. It was pretty sick. And there's a couple people in here that highly attribute it to that. So thank you very much. And even this past week, we had almost 100. I think it was like 77 to 80, somewhere in there. I'll have to double check. But 100 pounds this past week is pretty sweet. Next thing is I am married to my amazing wife. She's 32 weeks pregnant. She hasn't had a picture up for this week. So she's 32 weeks pregnant. We're expecting our first kid. It's pretty freaking sweet. But without, going too detailed into myself, I kind of want to get right into this thing. Here's what we're going to go over. We have macronutrients. What are they and how are they different, and how are they different and do different things in your body? So not all, macronutrients are the same. There's, they don't all work the same in your body. They all do different things. Next is what are micronutrients, such as vitamins, minerals, and how are they different? What do they do in your body and why are they important? Next is looking at a nutrition label, and we went over this with, I went over this yesterday with somebody, and it'll kind of amaze you at some of the stuff I figured out and looked up recently on nutrition labels. And then lastly, how to lose weight and finally reach your weight loss goals. It's a kind of a culmination of everything, and really trying to break down the heavy stuff into bite-sized, easy to understand pieces. Oh yeah, and then the bonus, that's the cool part. At the end, there's something cool that you'll get for being here, which is awesome. So let's get to it. First thing is protein. It's a micronutrient. There's 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. They're basically the building blocks of your body. So protein is made of amino acids, and these amino acids have certain roles in your body. So for example, glutamine is one of the 20 amino acids, and it goes and helps build muscle. So if you have a protein with glutamine in it and you have exercised, that amino acid will help you build muscle. There are many sources of protein, but the top 5 meat sources are chicken, fish, steak, eggs, and turkey. But I do have some people that maybe even on this webinar that are vegetarian. So the top 5 plant protein sources as well are quinoa, edamame, black beans, peanut butter, and peas. Surprising, I'm not really a huge proponent of peas, but there's a lot of protein in peas that I had no idea of. I knew there's pea protein powder, but I didn't know there was so much protein in peas. Now there's the two main keys between these are the amino acids that protein are made of, or that meat are made of, and that plants are made of. And most plants are not a complete protein, which means they don't have all of the amino acids that you need, including the ones that we can make in our body and ones that we can't. Most meat sources are a complete protein. So if you are a vegetarian, you might have to supplement other amino acids in order to get all of them to do, keep your body functioning properly. Next thing is fats, and fats are, there are 9 calories in 1 gram of fat. 3 basic types of fats, and so I don't have to really dive deep into each of them. The first one, the worst one, are trans fats. We want to actually have the least amount of these. They're the worst ones. They're chemically made, and they used to be used a whole lot in fast food, and there's still some in fast food, but they make things like really crispy, and they make things taste like really good. But the flip side of that is that they also clog your arteries, make your body produce all of the bad cholesterol and triglycerides that clog up your veins and stuff like that, cause heart problems and diabetes and things like that. Direct link, not like, oh, it just happens. Like if you take in more of those, it's just shown that you have a higher likelihood of having those problems. Next is saturated fats. Those are fats that are typically found in meat. So bacon and red meat have saturated fats as well as unsaturated fats. But saturated fats used to be said that they're so terrible for you and that you should avoid them like the plague, when in reality they're not near as bad as what we thought they were. Last is unsaturated fat. These are like your the fats from avocados and peanuts and fish, things like that. And these fats go into your body and help actually clean up the stuff that the trans fat would give if you were to eat it, or just the plaque that gets there from age and stress and things like that. So another thing with these unsaturated fats is there was a study done, and I don't remember, I think it was in England or something like that, where women just came in and told these dietitians, I believe they were, what they ate, and they found that women who typically consumed more unsaturated fats than women who didn't weighed less. So is it the unsaturated fats that made them weigh less, or is it that the foods that they're eating that contain unsaturated fats are better for you than other ones? You know, I'm not really sure, but what I tell my clients and what I tell you is that eat more unsaturated fats, because they couldn't draw a conclusion from it. They just showed that if you had healthier fats, it was better for you. Okay. Next thing is carbohydrates, and these guys are broken into two different categories. They're your complex, which are things like tomatoes, quinoa, carrots, broccoli, and spinach. These have a lot of nutrients in them typically. They don't spike your blood sugar levels, which we'll go into next, so fast. They will they burn a lot longer, which is good, and they don't contain nearly as much sugar as simple carbohydrates, such as bananas, donuts, white bread, sugary drinks, ice cream, things like that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, but bananas are good for you, and I totally agree. I know bananas are good for you, but most of the carbohydrates in a banana are sugar. So although they are good for you, we still we want to eat them in moderation, as to not promote weight gain from the sugar from the carbohydrates or sugar from the banana. Now, there's only a couple fruit that you should be aware of that have these type of things, and that's have high sugar is bananas, grapes, and watermelon. Those are pretty much the high ones. I think cantaloupe is pretty high as well. And again, just so you know, if you do have questions, make sure you put them in the not this page here, but there's another page, the page where you went to just before this. There's like a section on there, and I'll answer them there, because for some reason the question thing, I tried it this morning and it worked, but for some reason it's not working now. I'll answer questions on there after we're done with the presentation. Okay. Next thing are micronutrients, and by the way, I'm going to go into detail how they're different and affect the body after we're done with the micronutrients. So don't forget that I forgot about that. I will get to that. Okay. The next thing are micronutrients, and these are things that don't contain calories, but they're found inside of foods that contain calories. So they are broken down into vitamins and minerals. So vitamins are made by plants and animals and are organic. So it means that they're made from these two things. Minerals are made by soil and water. So we don't make them. They're like metals, basically. Okay. Here's a little cheat sheet, and I can totally send you the link where I got this. And actually, there's a better link. If you Google vitamins vitamin cheat sheet, it brings you to a site called Life Hacks, and there's a huge thing that's like, I tried to print it out one time. It's so big I couldn't print it out. It was like 4 sheets long or something like that. I might actually print it out and bring it to the gym. I think I'll do that actually. But super long, and it has, where it has vitamin K, it'll have the sources of where the best ones are from and stuff, and what their functions are. But we're going to go into that here too, and I'm going to send you this thing as well. First thing we're going over is vitamins. Vitamins, there are two differences in vitamins really. There's the water soluble, which means that when there's water present, we can use those vitamins for the processes which they're needed for. And then there's fat soluble, and those are vitamins that need fat in order to be used. So A is a fat soluble vitamin, and it's typically found in carrots and broccoli. And the purpose of vitamin A is for eyesight, to help better your eyes and keep them healthy. Vitamin B found in spinach and red meat. This is a vitamin that if you are a vegetarian, there's some that come from spinach. I don't remember exactly. There's like 5 different B vitamins, like B1, 3, 6, and 12. I think there's another one in there, but I forget off the top of my head. But some of them are found in vegetables, and some of them are found in red meat. And the ones in red meat are like necessary, that we need those for life. So you would have to then supplement those B vitamins. If I'm not mistaken, it's B12 that you need to supplement, not through an injection, through something else. And I'll tell you about that in a second. Okay, and this is a water-soluble vitamin. Vitamin C is another water-soluble vitamin, typically found in red peppers and oranges. And this breaks down free, I don't know why I put FA, it's fatty acids, trans fatty acids. They are like what fat is broken down to. They're broken down into fatty acids in the blood, and then amino acids as well. So once, let's say you just worked out, like I just beat you up this morning pretty good. You go home and you take your protein shake. If you don't have enough vitamin A in your body's not able to break down that protein or that amino acid and take the components that it needs to help you repair your muscle. So vitamin A is very important. And the huge thing about vitamin A is that the RDI, or what's called recommended daily intake, is at like 50 or 60. So it's extremely low, and it's at that low point right now because you need that much practically a day in order to not get scurvy, which is what the pirates got when they were going across the sea forever. They a lot of times they would only have like meat, so they would get like really sick, and they found out it's just a vitamin C deficiency. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, anyways, super important we have that. And we want to have way more than 50 or 60. We want to get in like the 500, 600, 700 range, because there's additional benefits of vitamin C, which we won't get into here once we get that high. So super important. And it's a water-soluble vitamin. So if you take in too much and it's not usable, just like vitamin B, they'll just, excrete it out. And that's a big thing with vitamin B supplementing. I hear people a lot will go get vitamin B shots, and they'll get like a week's worth in a day. Well, your body's just going to excrete most of that out. So you might as well get more vitamin B from like spinach and red meat and things that have vitamin B in it, as opposed to getting a shot all the time. So that's just my tidbit, and that's it for that. Anyway, vitamin D comes in milk and from the sun. Surprisingly, it's really interesting. If you go outside, we're kind of not like a plant, but how plants get like their nutrients from the sun. We get the same thing through vitamin B. So once the sun hits our skin, we're able to like metabolize the rays, or I forget the fancy term for it, but basically what it does is it puts vitamin D on our skin, and we absorb that, and we use that for bone health and other things. Pretty interesting. So if you feel like you have a vitamin B deficiency, go hang out outside for a little bit, and it'll help. I think it's like 30 minutes a day or something. I know it's hot as crap outside, but go not at night, but go like in the early morning or late evening where the sun's still out, so you can get your allowance of vitamin D. Excuse me. Next one is vitamin E. Super important for immune health. These are mainly found in avocados and plant oils. It is a fat-soluble vitamin, so just like A, D, and E, if you consume too much of these, and the last one, which is K, if you consume too much of these vitamins, you actually can become toxic. Like, for example, if you consume way too much vitamin A, there's a vitamin A carrier. It's called beta carotene, and it's typically what vitamin A is found in drinks and things like that if it has vitamin A. But your skin will actually turn orange like a carrot, for real. Not like bright orange, but it'll have an orange tint to it. And that's a sign that says, hey, you need to back off vitamin A before you get toxic. And there's plenty of problems that you'll have from being toxic. So will that happen to you? Like, most likely not. But it is something to be aware of. If you like supplement, let's say you supplement vitamin A and you love carrots and eat like a bunch of carrots a day, then there could be potential problems from that. But lastly is K, which is another, like I said, fat-soluble vitamin. vitamin. Spinach and broccoli, and its main purpose is for blood clotting. So if you're on like warfarin, or if you know anybody who's on a blood thinner, they are not allowed to take this supplement, or these that take in this type of vitamin, because it can potentially cause them to have more blood clots than they had before. Next is minerals. Minerals, there's a bunch of them. There's like too many to list, but I just chose my top 5. I think the 5 that are most important. The first one is calcium, and calcium is important not only from bone health, but it helps with exercising. It helps with almost every single, actually, really, it helps with almost everything in your life, because whenever you do any type of muscle contraction, like moving, walking, talking, breathing, anything, it you need calcium for that. So luckily, most of the time in our body, we can recycle calcium a little bit, but we still need it for the bone health. Its main source is from milk, okay? Or if you don't have milk, almond milk or things like that have a bunch of calcium in it. I just did the first one that came to my head. Next is sodium. This comes from table salt, or a lot of drinks or meats are in sodium. Now, the problem, there's a benefit, or like a risk and reward, I'll call it, for sodium. So the reward for having enough sodium is that you have water balance, which is really good when it comes to having wanting good blood pressure, when it comes to not wanting to go to the bathroom every 20 seconds, or a bunch of other stuff. There's another thing that allows stuff going through and out of your cells called the NAK pump, which is sodium potassium pump. Anyway, I don't want to get into that, but it helps with water balance and cramping and things like that, especially when exercising. We want to make sure we have enough sodium, but not too much. Next is iron, and iron is very important for blood health. Now, iron comes in 2 different forms. It's called non-heme iron and heme iron. And what they do is they, when you have a blood cell, you have the actual blood cell, and then you have things on top of them called hemoglobin. And hemoglobin, the Heme part, is iron. So without iron, your body literally cannot grab as much oxygen when you breathe in as if you had iron. So it's like you're breathing from a straw all the time, is what people who are anemic or people with lack of iron talk about all the time. So we need to really make sure we have enough iron. 2 forms, like I said, the non-heme and heme. Heme is the meat iron, which you can get a lot of in fish or meats in general. And then non-heme you would get through like spinach and leafy greens, things like that. I don't know if you're seeing, hopefully you're seeing a nice recurring theme, that spinach is awesome. So you need to make sure you take in spinach, even if you're a picky eater. I don't care. Spinach is awesome. Blend it up. It's really good for you, and it contains like practically no calories. Anyway, but like I said, it's really good for blood, oxygen health, all that stuff, or lung health, health in general. Next is chromium. This is very important for your insulin production and insulin like maintenance, we'll call it. The main place you get it is cheese, and that's just one of them. There's probably hundreds of places, but cheese is the main one, and it helps regulate insulin production and insulin, like it helps keep the blueprint for insulin working properly. So there's nothing like, oh, I missed a part, like through diabetes, your body kind of has this like, oh, it messes up making the proper insulin. Chromium kind of helps that, from making sure that your body makes the correct, I don't want to call it the correct type of insulin, because it's just insulin, but makes your insulin work properly. And then lastly, iodine, super huge. Main source is cod or fish, have a lot of iodine in it. You can actually get table salt that is iodinized or fortified with iodine. This is really important for thyroid function. So the thyroid is like the master gland of the whole body, or at least like the hypothalamus. But the thyroid is like a huge gland that has so many like jobs, it's ridiculous. So we need to make sure the thyroid is working properly. Glad to have you in here, Nora. Just got your text. Sweet. But anyway, thyroid is super important for the iodine is super important for thyroid function. I hear all the time that people just their thyroid's messed up. And I'm going to show you a couple reasons in the next couple slides why that is. But iodine is a huge player in that game to keep everything nice and working properly. Next is a nutrition label. I have a really cool story for you. Once we're done, it'll kind of blow your mind. But anyway, first part to really be aware of is the serving size on this. Hopefully you can see my mouse. Serving size, super important, because there will be containers. For example, like not that you necessarily would, but if you had a Gatorade, like what would look like a normal size Gatorade, it looks like it's one serving, right? But it really isn't. It's actually 2 servings in that Gatorade. So you're getting twice as many of everything that you're taking in. So make sure that you have the proper serving size, or you're taking in the proper serving size. We'll get into serving size and stuff later. But the first part you want to be aware of is the calories. So how many calories there are. This shows 20. Okay. The next thing we want to look into is the next part is the total fat, which is there. It's broken down, as you can see, between saturated and trans fat. Some products will put unsaturated fat on there, so you can see where the fat's coming from. This one, it's just a nutrition facts label I found online, so it's not very in depth with what's going on here. The next part we're looking at is the carbohydrates. There's in this product 36 grams of carbohydrates, and the next part that I really like to pay attention to is dietary fiber, and we really like to have food with fiber. And this, whatever product this is, has a whole bunch of it. As you can see, if you're supposed to take in 2,000 calories a day, this has 45% of your actually daily dietary fiber you need for the day. Holy smokes! Another thing with carbohydrates that are really cool, and it's mandatory on labels to put, is the amount of sugar that's put into the product. So if we see here 36 grams, and there's 6 grams of sugar in this thing. 1/6 of this product has sugar in it, which is not terrible for having how many carbohydrates there are. Not terrible, not good. We want to try to shoot for as low amount of sugar as we can. But anyway, next part of this thing is the protein, which is 13 grams, always at the bottom. It's always in this order: fat, carbohydrate, and protein. Okay. Real quick story, and she's in here because I talked to her yesterday. We were talking about, because in my gym, what we do is on Thursday or Friday, mandatorily for most of you that are in here should be doing, is you have to bring in your food log. Either we use MyFitnessPal or we have a sheet that we track our food on. But I was talking to this lady yesterday, and she said, "Oh, I went to this place called Salads to Go." Sounds pretty legit. Never been there, but Salads to Go, and she had a salad that was 320 calories in it, which is not very much for a salad. That's like maybe a fifth of what she should take in a day. So for lunch, if you had a fifth of your food, that's awesome, because then you have a lot of room for breakfast. You had a lot of room for breakfast, and then some room for dinner too, to make sure you get your calorie allotment in. But when we did, you can do the math to figure out if the calories on the package or anything is correct. And I'll show you here that even on this thing, it's actually not correct. If we look at carbohydrates, right, there's 36 grams of them. If we know, or which not if, but we know that there are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates. So all I'm going to do is times 36 by 4, and that comes out to be 144. Okay. Then I do fat, and we know that there's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat. So times 1 by 9, and that's 9. And then 13 times 4, I know this, it's 52. And if you add all of these together, I believe, let me hear and check, 61 and 144 comes out to 205. So this product, even though it says at the top that there's 200 calories, there's actually 205 calories in this, if we do the math on here, right? Now with her yesterday, she told me the numbers, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, but the product, or the salad that she got, said there's 320 calories in it. But when we did the math of the protein, fat, and carbohydrate breakdown, it said there was 236 in it. So that does pose a problem on both ends of the spectrum. Number one, it could be that the calorie, or the macronutrients, the fat, carbohydrate, and protein in that item, or in that meal, is not correct, or the math done with those numbers, which are supposed to be in the product, are not correct. for the calorie. And the sucky thing to say is we don't know which one it is because it's impossible to find out. So the best thing you can do is one, really go off of what I'm going to show you next. But two, you can't always depend on a nutrition facts label because the number here and each of these could be off by as much as 25% by law. So you can have a 25% room of error. So this product here could be either 150 calories or it could be 250 calories. Pretty interesting, okay? And then, like I said, just that story. Next part underneath is always just under the black line is the micronutrients that are in it. Typically, I think there's always 4 in each of them. I believe it's the 4 that are showing here. Well, they will not all have percentages of them because let's say white pasta has like nothing in it besides carbs. There's no anything in it. So that will be, all these will be zeros, but this product, whatever it is, has a little bit of some iron and other things in it. So this is nutrition facts. So make sure if you're having a product, not to be neurotic about it, but if the numbers don't seem to add up right, like it did when I was talking to my client yesterday, do the math and figure out what's true or what's not true. All right, let's go. Okay, there you go. So a couple things. There's 2 different types of food. Literally, you can break everything down to 2 things. There's food that are nutrient dense and some that are calorie dense. I'm sure you can kind of figure it out. When is something considered nutrient dense is when there's a lot of nutrients and not many calories. So a huge example of that is the master vegetable spinach. There's like no calories to that thing, but there's like a laundry list of vitamins in it, like a whole bunch of vitamins and minerals, both of them. So that's a really good nutrient dense food, but low calories. Now, the next thing is calorie dense. Obviously, it's the opposite. A lot of calories, a few nutrients. Now, both of these can be good at the same time. Here's why. When we just consume a lot of nutrient-dense food with not many calories, we have a whole bunch of vitamins, but our body still thinks that, we might be in like a famished type of state. So if we do this for an extended period of time, like a long time, maybe a month, 2 months with like really low calories, I'm talking like 500 to 800 calories, our body kind of shuts down still, even if we do exercise. So we need to make sure we have an adequate amount of calories. Now on the reverse side, if we have too many calories and not enough nutrients, I kind of liken it to like a brand new car. So if we go out and we buy like a brand new Mustang or something, whatever your car is, and you can drive it off the lot pretty much for about, 50,000 miles on it, maybe. No, probably like 20,000. We'll go 20,000 without any oil change, without air filters, without brakes, without anything like that, tires, what have you. But if we go more than that, the likelihood that car is going to get messed up increases like dramatically. So if we have a lot of stuff like, white pasta and frozen foods and things like that, with very low nutrients and a lot of calories, it's like not replacing the oil in a car. Your engine will run for a while, but eventually something's going to, mess up. Something's going to crack, something's going to give, and that's going to be your body. You won't crack or break necessarily, but your metabolism will slow down. You'll feel groggy. You'll really want to keep craving these sugary drinks and things like that are bad for you. So we want to use both of them. So I wouldn't say white pasta is a good choice, but maybe things like steak, for example. 1 4-ounce steak is like 350 calories or something like that. So a lot of calories, even though there's a lot of nutrients in it as well. A lot of, I should say, like minerals, not really like vitamins and stuff, but you kind of get my drift. We want to make sure we have an adequate amount of calories to not promote weight gain, but to make sure we have enough energy to get us through our workouts, and also a lot of nutrients to help kind of change our body's air filters and oil and tires, things like that. Okay. Now, next thing, a source of high, what the heck? I don't even know what I was trying to type there. A source is high in something when it has more than 20% of the nutrients. So going back to this guy, iron has 20% or is 24% 24%, or this product has 24% of iron. So whatever this is would be considered high in iron, which is important, right? We need to have foods that are high in things, especially if I'm looking at your food and I'll say, hey, you're really low in, potassium or something like that. Then I'll say, these are foods that are high in this, and you can look, or even if you can go do some research yourself and find foods that are high in potassium for yourself. Okay. Like I said, still, if you have questions, please, I know hopefully it's on speaker so you can listen to it. Go to the other page and write your questions so I can answer them as we go. This part here, first off, don't judge me by my writing skills, because I used my pointer finger on this thing. It's a touch screen. Doesn't look good. That's why there's already dots on it and stuff. I couldn't get it to erase. Don't judge me. But this graph here is basically like our blood sugar. This red area here is normal range, and this is typically between 60 and 100. This is where our body likes to have blood sugar to maintain proper body function. When we get too high, causes problems. When we get too low, causes problems, except when we're exercising. Okay. Now, this is the whole culmination of this bad boy. That's a big word. Culmination of this bad boy. We have our body does not react the same way to protein as it does to carbohydrate, as it does to fat, as it does to sugar. It reacts all differently, and this is the main thing why. And I'll show you why. Probably maybe what you're doing is not quite working for you at the moment, unless you're somebody who's been with me and we're starting to kill it. Okay. First thing is protein. Now, when we have protein, this is our blood sugar. The new lines are going to be what happens in our blood sugar. Okay. So when we have protein, when we consume that, like let's say we have steak or something, there is somewhat of an insulin response. Insulin response meaning there is a reaction to the sugar or the carbohydrate that is in whatever product you're eating, and insulin needs to go and grab that and do something with it. Either have it use it for energy right away, or store it for later. And our body is made to store things forever, really. There's we store things for a long time, basically. I won't get into it, but we store things because way back when we were even traveling across the United States, we would not always know when our next big meal is going to be. So our body's adapted to doing that, to store things for a long time. So anyways, when we have protein, we have somewhat of an insulin response or blood sugar hike, just a little bit within this range. But within here, our body kind of doesn't really have so much of an insulin response. Maybe if we have something that's really a poor quality protein or even some other meats might get you outside of this range a little bit, but not so much, not a lot of high insulin response. Nothing we need to worry about. And it's important to worry about insulin response, or this chart here really is called the glycemic index, is what I'm trying to portray, is because with insulin in our body, the production of insulin, or when insulin's in our bloodstream, really, that is the only way that sugars and carbohydrates get into our cells. There's no other way. There's no other thing that does that. So, for example, here's another reason, fat here. When we take in fat, there's literally no insulin response at all, zero, because insulin doesn't grab fat. It can't do it. Dietary fat, saturated fats and things like that, can't grab it because there's the key that's on insulin doesn't match the key that's in fat. So the old adage of fat makes you fat, well, we know that's not true because it doesn't grab it at all. There's hardly any insulin response, if any. And 99 out of 100 times, really probably 99%, 99.9%, there's nothing that does that. Next is a carbohydrate. This is more, what I mean by carbohydrate here, I'm talking about a low glycemic index carbohydrate, kind of like quinoa, okay? You might get out of the zone for a second, but your body doesn't see so much of a huge spike. It'll send a couple insulin, some insulin to come grab that bad boy and bring it back down to normal, okay? So not really much to worry about. That's why most of the time, fruits and vegetables are okay to eat unless you have a lot of bananas, bananas, grapes, cantaloupe, watermelon, things like that. Really sugary vegetable or fruits rather will do that. Okay. And then here's the thing. This is what happens when we take in sugar. Not good. So our body, when we do this, right, this is sugar here. As soon as we eat it, goes really, really high. Our blood sugar goes out of control. Okay. And what happens, this is the really bad part. So let's say right here, this is at 80. We're at 80 blood sugar. I won't get into the score of it or how it all works, but we'll say it's 80 blood sugar. And 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. Okay, so 80 blood sugar, but it jumps really high because we just took in like a Gatorade or something with just, or even a Mountain Dew that has like 55 grams of sugar in it. It's all high fructose corn syrup, and our body's like, holy smokes, this thing's going really high really fast. We know what happens when we go really high. Our blood starts to get really thick. We can have all sorts of problems. So what your body does is it sends insulin when it's at 0 here. It sends insulin really, really high to try to grab this up, and it tries to beat the amount that it's actually there because it just sees this huge jump. So let's say this number right here is 200. There's 200, we'll call it sugars for ease of conversation. There's 200 sugars here, but our body senses that, holy crap, there might be 300. So it'll send 300 sugars here. Actually, because we said it right, we'll say it's 250. We'll send 250 insulin here to snag up these sugars here. So it starts grabbing all these sugars. There's only 200 here that we just consumed, but there's 50 insulin still hanging out. So what this insulin is going to do is it's going to get that normal amount of sugar that's in here. So we had 80 here. It's going to drop us way out of this range and get way down here. When we're down here and we're not exercising, our body does one of two things, or most likely both of them at the same time. It signals a hunger response. So it thinks, wow, my blood sugar is really low. Blood sugar, or sugar in general, when our body breaks down carbs, it makes it into sugar that we use in our body. But when blood sugar is this low, we can't really function very well. So we need sugar right now. So it's going to send a hunger response saying, hey, you need to eat because we're really low blood sugar, even though we ate and we just got a whole bunch of sugar, but we're really, really low. So it jumps really high, really low. And so you want to eat that, you want to get sugar right away. And the only way to get sugar really, really fast, the way your body wants it, is to take another something like that. Get another 200, whatever. Tries to get you back into here. Let's say you have another, maybe even orange juice. Let's say we had orange juice. That has a lot of sugar in it too. So it goes up again, boom, really high, and then really low, and really high, and really low. In my opinion, and I'm pretty dang positive I'm right on this, but this up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down of your blood sugar causes your insulin to burn out, causes your pancreas to probably make some whacked out insulin that doesn't work. And when your pancreas makes whacked out insulin that doesn't work, or your bodies can't keep up, that's called diabetes. Diabetes causes a whole bunch of problems. So we want to avoid sugar as much as possible, even some natural sugars, okay? Because fructose is a good sugar. Yeah, it's in fruit and stuff, but too much of it's bad. So again, I know this is very complex. If you have questions, please, 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 please put them on the other page, and I will talk about them after we're done here. Next thing is how to make a meal. So I get this question a lot. People aren't sure of really even how to make a meal, like what makes a good meal, okay? And a lot of it's really, to be honest, just a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of figuring out what you like, what you don't like, but here's just an easy guide to do it, okay? And what we're talking about here is making a meal using proper serving sizes. And that's totally done by an individual basis. So it's individual because you use your hand to figure out your serving sizes. It's pretty easy and convenient, okay? And you can do this anywhere. There's a lot of restaurants and places that will actually do this for you. For example, you can go to Chipotle and have your meal designed exactly the way you want it. because you have an idea of at least the size that you want. Okay, so first thing, for protein, it's the size of your palm. So if you hold your palm out here, it's this area here, whoop, here, not only height and width wise, but it's also thickness on the side. So if you're a bigger person, you're going to have a bigger serving size. Like if it was Shaq, like me and Shaq, I have pretty small hands. So my serving size would probably be like half of Shaq's size because his hand's way bigger than mine. Have you seen that dude's hands? Stupid huge. Okay, so you use your hand to figure out your serving size. Next is grains. If you were to have grains like quinoa or something healthy like that, whole wheat pasta is acceptable-ish unless you're on one of my programs that we say none of that for the 6-week program. So if you're on that, ignore this, but afterwards, this is how you figure out your grain serving. You just measure just about, you don't have to literally put it in your hand, but measure about a handful. So you open up your hand kind of like a cup, and that's how much you would have in there. Next thing, fruit or vegetables, or vegetables or fruit, whatever you want to do. It's your size of your fist. So again, this is very important when it comes to different sized people, because me and Shaq are next to each other. Dude has like a whole bundle of bananas if he's going to eat that. And I'm probably going to have like a quarter of a banana because my hand's small. Okay, so it's all dependent upon your hand size. Okay, and the next thing is fats, and that's about a thumb length. So if you were to have peanut butter, for example, it would be from the tip of your thumb all the way to here, there, and there. And you don't want it to be like thumb width or height and all that stuff, but it's just about a thumb length. And it doesn't have to be like a millimeter thick. It can be like maybe a half of an inch or whatever, kind of just to see how big your thumb is and use that as your scale, okay? Now, I know I say this is a serving size, but how many servings of each should you get? If you're looking for weight loss, typically women want to have, at every meal, have one of each. So one protein, one grain, or one palm, handful, fist, and thumb length. For weight loss / maintain. A lot of the times at the very beginning, you can get away with having one of each because normally your serving sizes are a lot bigger than that. So this will get you started, and then once you get started, there's different ways we can tweak things. Like some meals, you will have 2 protein and 0 grain, and only 1 fist of vegetables and not fruit at some meals, and then and every meal have a thumb length or something. So it all depends. Kind of once we get further down in the program, then we kind of switch it and make it different for you. Next, for men, it's 2 of everything to maintain. So 2 palms, 2 handfuls, 2 fists, and 2 whatever. So our plates will be a little bit bigger and fuller than women's, but it's because men have more muscle mass typically, so we'll burn more calories than women will. Even if we eat the same amount of calories, we just have more muscle mass. Not because we lift more or anything, just women just typically have less muscle mass than men, and that's just known, okay? Bonus! That's pretty much it for this stuff, by the way. Like I said, if you have questions on anything, please put it in the other thing below. Or if you're on Facebook, you're friends with me on Facebook, please ask me a question on there. I'll be more than happy to get in contact with you through that, and I'll talk about it on the video. So far, I haven't got any questions. If it's confusing, go to that page. I apologize. Send me a question in my email or something, and I will get back to you. Okay. Next thing, bonus. Like I said, I actually just made another ebook, and let me go and pull that up for you. Hopefully, I can do this. I don't know. Hopefully, you're seeing my whole page and not my secret stuff. Oh, has it been? Honestly, hopefully, has it been my face the whole time? Oh snap! It might have been my whole face the whole time. That would stink. Let me see. If it has, let me know. I'll send you my PowerPoint. Because that would stink. But here is the bonus. You get my new ebook. It is a summer grilling ebook, 28 clean eating recipes. They're all pretty stinking bomb. And I highly recommend them. They're really, really good. So all you have to do is click more at the bottom of that, and it'll send it to you. But before we get into that, I would like you to ask any questions that you have. Again, I apologize if it was on my face the whole time. That would be weird because I tried to show, obviously, the PowerPoint the whole time. So if you have questions, please put it on this page. I don't see any yet. And there's got to be a few, I'd imagine. Let me see here. Okay, let's see. Let's go here. Scroll down. Anything? Nothing there. And nothing here. Okay, if you could, let me see. And you guys, oh snap. Oh snap, I'm a noob. I didn't even show you my whole PowerPoint the whole time, man. Okay, let me go through that real quick. I'll send, actually, you know what I'll do? Because I'm a noob at this, I'll obviously send you, I'll just send you my PowerPoint so you can go over it. Because it should have been showing you the whole time and it did not. Darn it. But if you could, Nora or Delphine, let me know if you can see the ebook. That way I can send you, if not, I'll send everybody who's here the ebook. I just need you to email me and let me know that you're here. What other questions popped up yet? Question. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's see. Oh, not cool. Okay. So here's the sweet thing I was telling you about beforehand. This is the, let me go here, just to kind of recap. Chris Shank, it's all my awesome stuff. 150 pounds this last month, 100 the previous week. Difference between all these guys plus the bonus. Building blocks, 5 sources of chicken, fish, steak, eggs, and turkey. Quinoa's top one for plants. Unsaturated fats, good. Saturated, nah, they're okay. Trans, not good. 2 different types. Tomatoes, quinoa, carrots, broccoli are awesome. Bananas could be better. Donuts, white bread, and sugar drinks, not so great. Breaks down to 2 different types, vitamins and minerals. Here's the stuff that they do, they're good. A is for eyesight, B, energy metabolism, C is for breakdown of fatty acids and amino acids, D is for bone health, and E is for immune system. Yes. Calcium, all that stuff's good. Calcium for bone health, sodium, water balance, iron for blood, chromium's insulin, nutrition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this video over me going, well, over me talking so you can get the whole thing. This is important. Sugar has a really huge spike and it gets you really low. Bad things happen when you're here and here. We want to stay within this red area. So by eating proteins, fats, and good carbs, you'll stay within this area for the most part. How to make a meal. Palm, handful. Palm is for protein, grains, handful. Fist is for vegetables and fruit. And thumb is for fat. 1 of each for women, 2 for men. And the summer thing. Questions? If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Okay. Awesome. So hopefully, if you do have any questions, if you do have a question, if you go to this page here, let me hurry and put this in the slideshow thing. I'm pretty sure I can do that. If you go to, have one person with a question at least. Let me put this in. Okay. What the heck? Okay. So if you go to, I'll put it down here. This is the page where we started from, the what you need to know about nutrition. So go here, and there's a comment section down below. You can go to that and type your question, and I'll be able to answer it through there. Because for some reason the question section is not loading on this. But if you do not have a question, or if you think of a question later, you can always email me. You can go to my website. It is training.com. You can contact me through the website that I'm going to post, and we can, like I said, contact me through there with any question that you may have about fitness or nutrition or anything like that. Let's see. We're going to check this to see if we had somebody on here. Type their question. Funny thing, I dry run this thing this morning and it worked perfectly. So I don't know what the heck's going on. Oh, here's the website. Worked totally perfect. So if it, for some reason, is not working for you, and you have my email address or my phone number, you can text me the question, and I can go over the question on here with you. I'll be on here for another 5 minutes or so, and then I got to get my butt over to the gym to go lift heavy things and put them down. That's the key for today. Let's see. Got a notification last time. Okay. Okay, so here's a question. What would some of the dairy fall under for portions? So, good question. A lot of the time, dairy has like a mix of fat and protein in it. Not so. There's some carbs. I guess the lactose would be. Most of the time, a cup for like milk is the serving size, but you have to check on the label. Sometimes it'd be, most of the time it'd be on a label for dairy. But yeah, I think a cup is pretty much like the standard for milk. And then for cheese, I think it depends on that too. Like typically if it's sliced cheese, it would be done by slice or per slice. If it is like shredded cheese, I think it comes out to be like a tablespoon or like a third of a cup, something like that. But again, on the packaging of those, since they are made in packages, like unlike fruit and stuff where you have to buy them, there's no nutrition facts label on them. The actual serving size would be on the package for sure. Thank you for the question. That's a good question. Let's see if we have any others. If we do, what I'll do is, because I know there's some people on here that, let me see. Oh, few. Okay. So I thought the whole time you guys were watching my face. Thankfully, it wasn't that. That would be really sucky. Okay. So I'll give it another minute or so. If you do have a question, like I said, go to the page on, on the showcase on the right-hand side, there's a place like what you need to know about nutrition. There's a little little thing that popped over there. Click that or click more. It'll bring you to the page for more info or anything like that, where you can type your question in there. Let me see if there's any others. Hey, well, again, if you do have questions, please feel free to contact me at my website, it's tribridpersonaltraining.com, or you can email me at chris@tribridpersonaltraining.com. That's TRIBRID personal training, all one word.com. Glad you can make it. I know there wasn't so many people here, which is totally cool. I really wish that the question section would have been open on the side. I don't know what the heck is up with that because it was working earlier. It's probably my fault for something not working. Let's see if anybody else had put any questions. Ask your audience to submit questions. It will appear below. Hopefully that will make it work. But if not, good having you over here. And again, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me. You know where to get me at, and I will talk to you later.